Hi everyone! And I don't know when she's going to stop speaking. Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And today I'm going to be playing a tank that is big, dumb, but it's also filthy fun. I'm playing on my free-to-play account in the Tier 7 Japanese heavy tank. It is the Oni. And I am not going to be using the derp gun on the Oni today. I'm going to be using the 105mm gun. I feel like the 105mm gun on this vehicle is just so much more consistent. 330 alpha damage, 190mm of pen on its standard rounds, very nice indeed, and I believe 215mm of penetration on its premium rounds means that this gun just works so much better with the high explosive nerfs than the 152mm is capable of these days. Although, you know what, if you still love to see really big numbers and be able to derp out your rounds, you can still make the derp gun work on this tank, especially in a matchup like this. And it really is matchups like this where this tank is just absolutely disgustingly awesome. Look at all of those ricochets off the front of this tank. SU-100Y, S-35CA, Wolverine, VZ-44-1, multiple rounds, already blocked 1,500, make that 1,655 damage so far this game. The Oni with its big, thick 175mm frontal hull armor means that it's going to be ricocheting everything pretty much equal and lower tier until they start loading those gold rounds. Whether we're going to be seeing that later on in the battle, well, that remains to be seen. This vehicle is something that I'm going for on my free-to-play account because I just think that the Japanese heavies are kind of good free-to-play tanks. They don't really have fancy DPM. They don't have fancy mobility. They're kind of just big, thick vehicles, and you can't really improve armor in World of Tanks, right? It's one of the only things that you physically can't improve. And so I always thought, why not just go for these on my free-to-play account and see what I can do? And as we're going to be seeing in this game, yeah, we could do some pretty darn good stuff. So I was thinking, just get a casual shot in against the SU-100Y there. And the first gold round hits my tank. The second gold round hits my tank. The next artillery hits my tank, and suddenly the Oni is not looking all so strong. And a third round from the VZ-44-1, who must be sitting behind that tree at the back of the map, now lowers me to, oh my, what is that, a fourth heat round that just landed from the VZ-44-1? And now he finally gets spotted, thank you very much to the Tiger who made his way around the corner. So that will allow us to be able to get forwards and put a shell into the VZ-44-1 here, and hopefully be able to follow it up with a subsequent shell. Immediately, you're seeing how good the Oni is against lower tier tanks and tanks that are not firing gold rounds, and you're seeing how big, dumb, and cumbersome it is against vehicles that are. And the VZ-44, I mean, I'm never going to say that that's a really good position to take a Czechoslovakian top-tier heavy tank, but what I will say is that he's doing a good job at doing the right thing, which is firing gold at this tank. At this stage, I was actually taking a look at getting reasonably close to completing one of the hardest missions to do in the game, HT-12. And I'm in a bit of an awkward situation here with the EZ-8, where he doesn't want to get shot by the KV-3, and I really don't want to be pushed around the corner in front of the VZ-44-1 who's firing premium rounds at us, and so it's just an awkward scenario. I expose my butt as I swing my tank round to try and deal with the KV-3. We see the VZ shell just whizzing over our tank, and it's just an awkward situation there. But when your tank weighs 100 tons, yeah, I just don't really see the M4 being able to win in that kind of a sumo fight. So we put one round into the KV-3, we're going to follow it up with another round to the back of the tank, and the KV-3 actually manages to pen a single round, a regular round against this tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wedge my tank up to improve my armor. That means that he's now unable to be able to go through the front of my vehicle so reliably, and now he is starting to panic. He's going, oh dear, what do we do if we manage to bounce our shells and the Oni just seems to be keeping on going after us? Well, he really should dab the 2 key here and load the gold, but it is now too late for him. And down to 173 hit points, we just managed to farm up the entirety of a KV-3, and now we can turn our attention to the rest of the enemy team. Now down to a one-shot for pretty much most vehicles, and an artillery splash will be able to remove us from the game. We are having to deal with a vastly superior number of enemy tanks. They had, before we managed to shut down the Britannia Panther on the enemy team, 6 tanks and a self-propelled gun against me, an M10 RBFM, and a self-propelled gun on our team. And we're going to see just what this big, stupid tank is capable of. It always just seems preposterous to me. Look at this thing when it's driving past other vehicles. That is a KV-1, that's a Soviet heavy tank, and this thing makes that thing look absolutely tiny. So Godzilla crests over the ridge, gives out a bit of a roar, blocks 2 rounds from the Skoda T25, the artillery shell from the back of the bat narrowly missing my Oni, which would have probably spelt certain demise. We're even going to manage to clutch shot the Skoda round the corner there. So the enemies are starting to take our cap circle. I'm probably not going to be able to spot from that position. Plus, that's not really my concern right now. My concern is getting flanked by the variety of vehicles that will be coming after us, and also the fact that if I go out in the open, the artillery is going to shut us down. I was hoping that the RBFM would go and get into position to be able to spot what's in the cap circle, but that's not to be, as they get hard shut down by the Skoda and a tank team from the Wolverine. So we are going to have to come around this corner. I don't really want to shoot anything apart from the Skoda in this situation, and so I was prepared. We shoot one, we see a Cavalier trying to cross flank us, we ram the Cavalier back, and while our reload with this 105mm gun might be long, why don't we just ram 2 tanks to death in this situation while also trying to fend ourselves off from the T1 Heavy? I'm shocked that that shell missed, which now puts me down to 68 hit points. But hopefully we're going to be able to ram another tank to death. Not quite, but nearly, as we put our damage total up to 4,807 kills. And in this situation, with 30 seconds left on the game, I'm darn happy that I've decided to use a turbo on this tank, which increases our top speed from 25 kilometers an hour up to 29 if I can get the grunt in this Japanese engine going. And this is a powerful old engine, 1,200 horsepower. Hopefully we're going to be able to get into position with 10 seconds left. It's going to be neck and neck whether we can catch the M4A3E8 or whether the artillery is going to splash us with 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh. Well, yeah, I guess it's big, dumb, and dirty fun right up until the fact that you realize you're pretty much a giant Japanese slug going around the map, just hoping that people don't fire gold against you. We were unable to be able to catch the M4A3E8 at the end of the game, and congratulations to him for doing the right thing, which was to not try and engage this super heavy behemoth at the end. I was really hoping that we were going to have an exciting end to this one and have a Radley Walters medal and maybe even a chance to be able to pull off a miracle, what would have been a miracle carry in that 1 versus 5 scenario. But irrelevant of the battle ending up in a defeat for us, we still get some pretty good consolation prizes. A cool headed medal for surviving 10 ricochets in a row that didn't penetrate, and at mid-tier like this, that is a rather unusual thing. A Sparta medal for ricocheting with less than 10% of our hit points left. A steel wall medal for blocking 4,600 damage, enough to be able to destroy this tank nearly 3 times over. A high caliber medal for the 4,800 damage that we dealt, 5 times that what anyone else on our team was able to achieve. And a top gun for our 7 kills. And yep, an ace tanker for our 1,111 base experience that we have to add courageous resistance onto on top of that. So if we'd managed to win, even in the situation that it was with the game ending before we got the extra couple of kills, this would have been 1,736 base experience. An absolute gargantuan game for a gigantic tank. So the Oni and Japanese heavies, are they something that I recommend all of you jump to be able to get as quickly as possible? Yeah, no. For every game that you get to see like this, where it is big, dumb, and tons of fun, it usually ends up against some tier 8, tier 9 tanks that just load gold and just pretty much turn it into a big EXP pinata for the enemy team, not for you. And that's why vehicles like the Oho are currently averaging a 44.66% win ratio in the last 2 months on the European server, with the Type 4 Heavy not even achieving 47% wins, and the Type 5 Heavy one having one of the worst win ratios at tier 10 of 47.7, even with its big thick armor. So if you're planning to make your way up the Japanese heavy tech tree, yeah, maybe you want to stop at tier 6 or tier 7. It really doesn't get too much better from there. Although, I'd like to point you in the direction of a video that I made last year, late last year, with the Type 5 Heavy, and I asked if it still got a position in the game. And with the derp gun and intuition, how could I be a QB video on YouTube without mentioning intuition? yeah, it can still actually be a little bit of fun outside of when you're getting spanked with gold. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments whether you are a Japanese heavy tank lover. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing something special today. I am going to be playing predominantly on the NA server. So if you're one of my lovely North American viewers or Canadian viewers or anyone who plays on the North American server and you always wanted to see how I would fare, come along live on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby right now. And also, I realize that the Lorraine 50T is currently only available on the NA server, at least for today, and I got a mountain of gold on my account. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming the new reward vehicle that you will be able to get either today on the NA server or tomorrow on the EU server, the Lorraine 50T, live right now. So come along and check out my initial impressions. Just go easy on me on the NA server, all right? Promise me that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.